So we're gonna end in a restorative pose. So you're gonna need like a good big pillow. So if you can go grab one like from your bedroom, or if you have like a really big couch pillow, you'll want like a good sized one. And then I have 2 blocks. If you don't have 2 blocks, just make sure that you have you could take like another 2 small couch pillows as I drop these, or like a stack of books or something. It doesn't need to be perfectly even, but you'll use those in our restorative pose at the end. And you might not need it before then, but if you ever want to have practice with blocks, you can do that. And then just so I don't grab 20 things, I'm going to sit on this. And we're gonna work towards some heart opening sort of shapes today. We're gonna kind of get like up on like kind of the top of the heart, up into the shoulders as well. We'll end in our restorative place, just letting things be very soft all around the heart. And I've been doing 2 things lately that I think it's funny. You could interpret them as being like a crisis response, and I've been seeking these things not out of a crisis response, but because I think that there's it's more of like a paving way sort of space. I've been constantly thinking of that Mary Oliver poem about the geese, where she says, "I tell you this to break your heart, not that it may shatter, but it may never close again to the rest of the world." So that's just been constantly coming up for me. And I've also just had on my coffee table the book When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chodron, and I'll have friends come over and they'll notice it. They're like, "Are you doing okay right now?" Like, no, I'm actually doing really good, because like things are falling apart. Like even all of these things that we started to think were like kind of going to be our normal during the pandemic, all that's starting to fall apart now. I need to worry about new things like getting my shot appointment, and like what are things going to do now that everything's unraveling and kind of raveling into something else. And I've been having a lot of my relationships and my consciousness about relationships have been dissolving and ebbing and flowing a lot lately, and they're falling apart, but not like I'm losing things, and not like I'm missing out, and not like I'm brokenhearted and shattered. It's that there's been this big clearing that's been going on to make way for something new. We've been clearing out of this space where we're shuttered in our homes and afraid to talk to others, where now we have this capacity to maybe be able to move out into the world again in different ways, but having this clearing out, having this space for something new. So we're going to do some heart opening today, really just kind of a softer heart opening, and trying to get into all areas, like the sides and like deep into the bottom with the breath, and in the back, and in the dog pets, and in the front of the heart as well. And letting our intention be perhaps that beautiful resonating line from the poet Mary Oliver, not that it may shatter, but that it may never close again to the rest of the world. This heart opening. Let's take the index finger and the thumb together. So you'll bring the base of your thumb to the center of your forehead and brush outwards towards your temples a few times. Then moving from the sides of your nose out to your temples. And from the temples down to your chin, along your jawline. And from the sides of your nose down to your chin on your laugh lines. And massaging the space underneath and behind your ears. Lifting up from that point. And resting your hands down into your lap. See if you can keep that lift in your spine. We're going to build up some deep breathing. I'm going to start though just trying to even your breath. So finding an even count to your inhale and your exhale. And then start to either count slower or add a count or two to your breath. You might count a little slower or add one more count to your breath if you've got the space for it. Then take one hand onto your belly, and on your next inhale, really try to fill up your belly as much as you can. Feeling the softening on your exhale. Trying to keep that depth that you've cultivated over the last few minutes. And then bring the other hand onto your heart and keep up that deep diaphragmatic breath right into your belly, your diaphragm, the bottom of your heart space, your rib cage. Just being present in the sensations in the heart space. Being intentional about a full deep breath that works and softens the bottom of the heart space. Take 2 more full deep breaths like this. Start to release your hands from your body. You can bring both hands to your heart or both hands onto your lap. Returning to a deep, steady breath that you would be able to continue your practice with, maybe seeking that level of intensity rather than that big bellows belly breath. And then taking a big inhale through your nose. Big exhale through the mouth. Again, like that. For 3 ohms. Start to open your eyes. We are going to start off in child's pose. So move, if you had anything that you were sitting on and you want to set it off to the side, you'll just know that you'll want it towards the end of our practice. And come back, hips working towards the heels as much as the body is comfortable with, walking the hands out in front of you. Rest your head down and wiggle your pelvis around a little bit side to side. See if you can open up a little bit of space. Maybe you're feeling your shoulders move around a little bit as well. And when you feel like you're ready to be more still, then starting to seek that stillness. One more breath out, really softening with your exhale. And then looking up and drawing yourself back up to your hands and knees. And we'll thread the needle. Take your right arm and slide it underneath the left until you come down onto your shoulder. Maybe you come up onto fingertips. Maybe you leave your hand how it was, or choose something different. And relax your hips. Let yourself rest onto the shoulder and the head here. Two more breaths. And then release your left hand, unwind the right arm, and slide the left side underneath, threading in the opposite direction, maybe coming up onto your right fingertips, and then relaxing the hips and your head and your shoulder, and keeping the breath as steady as you can. Big breath in. Big breath out. Then pressing down to the right hand, unwind the left arm. Go ahead and walk your legs back and then lean your heart forward. See if you can spread your collarbones and then as slowly as you like, lower all the way down onto your belly. And roll over to one side so you can stretch out your bottom arm. Try to walk out those fingertips a little bit further. And then take your top arm up and let the palms meet. The hands are probably up off of the floor here. It's more like your hands are reaching up above your head. And then if you can make your body really long from your hands to your head, to your hips, to your feet, go for that. So you're trying to come just as flat as possible. Pressing the palms together. It might feel a little bit precariously balanced. That's okay. Try to find the breath. One more inhale. One more exhale. And relax the arms. You can come up onto your head if that feels good to you, if that feels more balanced. You can bend the bottom leg if that feels more balanced. See if you can reach back and catch your foot. And if that's not working, just go ahead and reach that leg back behind you to open up the front of your hip. So foot grabbing or foot reaching, relax the top shoulder. Maybe you try to straighten the bottom leg because it's a little balance challenge. One more exhale. And then gently release your foot. And you're going to roll over to the other side. I'm going to flip this way because it's weird to not face you. So walk your bottom arm out and then bring the palms towards each other so the hands slightly lift up, and then see if you can make one long line so you're not folding at the hips, you're not hiking anywhere. Still breathing. One more round of breath. And relax this. Sometimes it feels good to come up, head on your hand, and then the top leg, reach back and try to grab forward, or just reach the leg behind you to open the hip. We're going to release this top shoulder, sending that bent knee down towards the bottom foot. Make a straight line in your body if you can, if you want to. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then you're going to gently release that leg and come over onto your back. When you get there, just going to bend into your knees, feet on the floor. Take your hands behind your head. Just let your elbows open up. And if your elbows will open up easily down to the floor, I want you to snuggle your shoulder blades underneath your back and feel the backs of the elbows pushing down into the floor. This might not be a really big stretch. It might be a really big stretch. Maybe your elbows are up here and they're not getting towards the floor. You're just going to press them in that direction. Big breath in. Big breath out. Relax your shoulders, your elbows. Take your hands out from underneath your head. You're going to interlace your fingers, make steeple fingers. Maybe you got to wiggle your shoulder blades out from your spine again. And then wrap your belly in towards your spine. As you inhale, reach your hands back towards the wall behind you, keeping that wrapping of your belly. Exhale, hands up above your face. And don't worry about getting your hands to the floor. For more fanciness, shins are parallel with the ceiling. Inhale, reach the hands back. Exhale, up above your face. And then do 3 more at your own pace and your own intensity. Last one. And set your feet down if you lifted them up. Drop your arms down. Just let yourself rest into the floor. And you're going to bring yourself up onto your hands and knees again. If you've got a block or a stack of books and you want to use those to give yourself more space around your hips, go for that. I grab one here. You're going to take your right foot up by where your right hand is. Let's see if you can wiggle it a little bit more forward. And then send your heart forward. You might come up onto fingertips. You might lift that block or those blocks up onto their highest settings or a middle setting. On your next inhale, see if you can lift your heart up just a little bit more. And on your exhale, you're going to soften a bit here. Now, if you have a block underneath your left hand, you can keep it underneath your left hand. Do move your left hand further forward. And we're going to turn the right knee and toe out so there's more room from the hips to come forward. And then the heart reaches back towards the back hand. Look towards the back hand. Keep lifting up and open through that heart, softening your belly to allow the rotation. Big breath in. Big exhale. And come out of that twist. Pull the hips back. Draw the right knee back and send the left foot forward. So it'll be just outside of your hand. And you can use a block or whatever props you prefer. See if you can bring the foot more forward. And then lifting your heart up and forward. Relaxing in the hips, still pushing strong in the front foot. Big breath in. Exhaling, and then turning your knee and toe out. You're going to take your right hand and or your block a little bit further forward, and then reach the left arm back as you rest the hips forward. Pull the heart open into both hands. Finding the breath again. One more inhale. One more exhale. And unwind yourself. Move back to the center here. Go ahead and set if you have your block off to the side, and then glide the left leg back, widen your knees, and sit back into child's pose. And of course, this can always be puppy dog. You don't have to have the hips exactly at the heels. See if you can wiggle the fingertips out a little bit more. And then on your exhale, let everything soften. And take your left hand to the left edge of your mat and your right hand over on top of it. Rest your head somewhere as you push down more into your right hand. Try to relax your inner right shoulder. Take 2 more breaths. And taking your right hand over to the right edge of your mat, the left hand on top of it, rest your head. Push down into that left arm. Try to relax the inner shoulder. Take another 2 breaths. Then lift yourself up, unwind yourself. We're going to come down all the way onto our bellies. See if you can find that long table pose. Open your collarbones and go down slowly onto your belly. Then wiggle your legs back, a little bit more open in the front. Take your arms back, reach them behind you or interlace your fingers. We're going to bend the elbows so that the collarbones open. As you lift your heart up, straighten the elbows, reaching those knuckles back. Lifting the legs is optional here. Can you soften your throat? Maybe feel your heart lift up a little bit more as you breathe in. And exhale, soften down. You can release the bind or not. Rest one side of your head. We'll come back up again into Shalabhasana or locust pose. So bend the elbows, look forward, pull the elbows back. And then as you straighten them, reach the knuckles back, the heart forward. Maybe the legs go up, maybe they don't. Reach everything long. Big breath in. Exhale, release. Go ahead and rest the other side of your head. Release your arms. Maybe wiggle your hips a bit side to side. And then bringing your hands in underneath your shoulders. See if you can lift your belly away from the floor, maybe your pelvis, and then push all of you up and away from the floor. Spread your fingertips out, push from your heart down into your hands. Come back to downward facing dog just to walk through your heels a bit. Rest your head and your neck. See if you can walk yourself up towards your hands, and you might come up to the fingertips. Bend into your knees real deep. Try to rest your belly on your thighs and rest your head. And keeping the knees bent, start to lift yourself all the way up. And when you get to standing, bring your feet in nice and close towards each other. Reach your arms up. And you're going to interlace your fingers, get up taller as you breathe in. Exhale, side bend over towards the right. Stay there, big breath in. One more breath out. And then up through the center and over towards the left. Stay there, breathe in, soften your inner shoulders. Exhale, maybe go deeper. Again, inhale up tall, lift your heart to your hands. Exhale, side bending to the right. Stay there, breathe in. Stay there, breathe out. Inhale, taller to the center. Exhale, side bend over towards the left. Stay there for a full inhale, full exhale. One more time through, squeeze those inner thighs together up through the center and then over towards the right. Stay there for an inhale, get long. Exhale, maybe go deeper. Inhale to the center, last time, over towards the left. Squeeze those inner thighs, breathe in, breathe out. And then come back to the center. Go ahead and rest your hands down to your heart. We're going to come into warrior one. Take your right foot forward and your left foot back. Now, it'll be a little bit easier to back bend, but it's going to be a much bigger balance challenge to be on your back toes. So if you're feeling really frisky, if you want to go that route, you can go that route. But I'm just going to show on the back heel in warrior one. We're going to lift the arms up and in this classic shape. Back leg is pretty straight. Front leg is bent, knees face forward. Get a little bit taller as you breathe in, and then bring your hands together, and you're either going to bring your thumbs to the back of your head or interlace your fingers and make a basket for your hands. And then you're going to take the inner shoulders, try to soften them, lift the heart up, and let the head fall back into your hands. 2 more breaths. Big exhale. And then lifting the head up, unwinding the arms, straighten the leg for a moment, give it a little rest. And then go back into the lunge, take your hands behind your back. You can hold your hips or interlace the fingers and send the heart forward as you pull the right hip back towards your left foot. Try to relax your head. Big breath in. Big breath out. And lift your belly, release your hands. Come all the way back up to warrior one. And then bring your hands to your heart, a little help as you step your back foot up. Maybe many steps, maybe one. And then taking the left foot back, or right foot back. Sorry, on the left side in warrior one. Back leg is straight. I know my pants are really fluffy. And then taking your arms up, trying as best you are comfortably able to square the hips forward. Get up a little bit taller in your spine, and then bring your hands together and the thumbs into the back of your head or your hands interlaced behind your head. Try to relax the inner shoulders, lift the heart up, and then let the head fall back into your hands. Big breath in, big breath out. And then lifting up, releasing your arms back behind you. Oh, straighten the leg for a moment. And then bend back into it, and you can keep hands at hips or interlace them behind you, and then come forward, humble warrior, this offering of yourself, releasing tightness in the fronts of the shoulders, still finding strength in your feet and your foundation. Left hip pulls back towards the right foot. One more exhale. Then look up, release the arms, lift all the way back up to warrior one. Feel yourself getting really tall. And then hands down to your heart. See if you can take one or a couple of steps forward to standing. And then we'll take a big step out wide. So we're going to turn ourselves out towards the long side of the mat. Turn your toes out a little bit. So not all the way to the wall. I'd be like not quite even between the corners, just out a little bit. And then you're going to take your hips, you're going to leave your right leg straight. You're going to bend into your left leg and send the hips back behind you. So you should have roughly knee over toe, and not having the weight go over to that leg, the weight goes back. And we have this big stretch here. Push into the pinky toe edges of your feet. Let your heart open up. Breathe in. Stay there, breathe out. And then come back up through the center. We'll go to the other side, so you're going to pull the hips back as you bend into your right leg, and you have that knee and toe mostly alignment. Push into the pinky toe edges of both feet. Open the heart forward. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then lifting yourself back up to the middle. Turn all 10 toes to face forward. You have an option of taking your hands to the floor or having your hands interlaced behind you as you come forward into a fold. So you might stay here, you might just take a breath or two, and then take the hands down. Feel free to wiggle what you need. Again, pushing down into the pinky toe edges of the feet. A little bend into the knees. Release your hands to your hips. Start to stand yourself all the way back up. And then bring the legs back in towards each other. We're going to go again into warrior one, and you could choose to take a lunge on the back foot if you wanted to challenge your balance a little bit more. So you might decide to be here or down with the heel. You're going to take your arms, try to wrap the opposite arm on top for eagle arms, or hold on to your elbows, and then you're going to stay lifted everywhere but like the top 5 ribs. So just from like the middle of your chest. Back leg is nice and strong. Shoulders are relaxing. Breathing in. Breathing out. Unwind your arms. You're going to take your hands into your imaginary back pockets, and then lift your heart up as you draw the elbows and shoulders back. Heart goes forward. One more breath in. Big breath out. And release your hands from your hips. Bring them to your heart. Try to keep the heart open. See if you can step up to chair pose before you stand up. So maybe you step up 2 legs bent, and then lift up. And then bring your right foot back, finding warrior one or a lunge on the other side. You have that other option if that's feeling interesting to you. The opposite arm is going to wrap on top for a hug or for eagle arms. Hips are trying to square forward as best they're able, and then just the top couple of ribs soften and curl inwards. Very subtle shift. Big breath in. Big breath out. Starting to unwind yourself, take your hands into your back pockets, lift your heart up away from your hips, let your collarbones and elbows drop open back behind you. Big breath in, big exhale. Come forward, hands to your heart. See if you can step up into chair pose just for a brief visit, feet together, hips rest back, and then stand on up. We're going to take a really brief visit to Ida Pingala, or the figure 4 balance with the ankle on the knee, and then from there go into dancer's pose. And you don't have to take a really big dancer's pose. If you wanted to grab a strap or a pant leg or something, or you could just fake it for a moment, just kind of pretending to hold that foot, that's all going to be good. So come into a space where you can feel good about balancing. Let's start, I'm not mirroring, just take your right ankle, put it on your left knee, and bend your hips back. But I want you to focus on, even if you have your hand over at the wall, it's just sending your heart forward and your tailbone back. That's it. Doesn't need to be a really deep one. You can be holding onto the wall for balance. Breathe in. Breathe out. And stand on up. You're going to take that right leg, I'm going to bring it back. So you're either going to fake dancer's pose, hold onto your pant leg, or hold onto your foot. And then send the heart forward, send the foot back, lift everything up on top of that leg, release this shoulder. And maybe you go further, maybe that was it. And then come out, rest your foot, wiggle your hips a little bit. We'll take the other side. So you're gonna bend into your right leg, put your left ankle on your right knee, and then your work is to lift your heart. So it might not be very deep, like sometimes you might be able to go down here, but you can't really lift your heart there. Maybe come up and lift your heart. One more breath. Stand up, release your leg. You're going to take it back behind you. Try to hold the inside of the foot if you're holding on to it. Knee down, hips open, heart forward. And so it's just about that. Maybe hold on to something. Maybe you really kick that foot back and the heart forward. Exhale. And release it slowly, setting that leg down. Wiggle things out. And we're going to start working back down towards the floor. So go ahead and step up towards the front of your space, back towards your mat. Then take an inhale, reach your arms up, interlace your hands, press the palms up, lean the hips forward, press the heart up to those palms. Take another really full breath in, see if you can hold it a little bit more at the top. Exhale, release the hands, bend the knees, soften down into this fold. Inhaling halfway up. And then you're going to take your hands down. We're going to step back. You're going to find child's pose again. Just reaching your hips back. Maybe wiggle those hips around a little bit. Big breath in. Big breath out. Walk yourself up. Swing the legs out in front of you. And take the right ankle and cross it up over the left leg, or keep it on the same side. Right arm in nice and close. Hug onto your thigh. Lift your heart. Lift your left toes. Exhale, soften the belly. Try to relax your collarbones in this twist. One more round of breath. And then relax your twist, relax, release your leg, and you're going to take the left one up and cross it over, nice and tall on the spine. Left hand for support, right hand holds, right toes lift. Get up taller as you breathe in. Exhale, soften your belly. Try to release your collarbones as well. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then start to release this twist. You're gonna unwind your leg. We're gonna come down onto our backs. We're gonna do a little bit of kind of up and down here. So don't get like super excited about Shavasana just yet, unless you're like, no, I'm done. I'm just gonna be in Shavasana for the next 25 minutes. You are welcome to do that. I've got a couple of things to work for still here. Go ahead and give yourself a little wiggle around on your back. And then take your right ankle onto your left knee. You could be here, you could put something behind your head if your neck is feeling tender. Maybe you just hold onto your thigh, release your hips to the floor, release your collarbones open. Big breath in. Big breath out. And take the legs, release them. You're gonna slide the right leg over more and then take a twist over towards the left side. So you should feel a pretty big stretch in the outside of your hip. You can even take your hands onto your belly space here and encourage it to soften. If that feels good, maybe you open your right arm. You can go deeper into the twist. Maybe you reach your right arm open a little bit more. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then start to come back to the middle, unwinding your legs. Setting your left ankle on top of the right knee, staying there. Maybe putting the arms around the right leg and relaxing the hips down, allowing the collarbones to hopefully unfurl from each other if they just squeeze together like mine did. One more full round of breath. And releasing your foot, slide the left leg over. You're going to open up into a twist. Stop at your foot if that feels good to you. A really big stretch on the outside of this hip, softening that belly and allowing the twist to deepen if there's space for it. Opening the left arm if that feels good to you. Going deeper only if that feels good to you. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then unwinding things, come back to the center. Bring your knees into your chest, cross your ankles, rock a little bit side to side. And then try to cross your thighs. Maybe hold on to your ankles, rock a little bit side to side. You can hold on to your knees too. And unwind your legs entirely. Start crossing opposite ankles. Reach up and hold on to your legs. Maybe you can cross thighs instead of ankles. So you're crossed at the knees, a little bit more intense. And then start to unwind your legs. We're gonna come up to a seat. And then if you have a block or your big pillow, anything at all that you can come to sit on, you're gonna know that you're gonna wanna sit there. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take I'll mirror. Take your right leg and you want to fold it in so that your foot is by your hip, and then this top leg, you're going to fold it over, and you're either going to sit in this twist with both hips down, or you're going to slide the leg over until you're on the pinky toe edges of both feet, and that is probably going to make you want to put something underneath your hips, and it can be squishy. And if this is like way too much and you want to come to crisscross applesauce or sitting in any other way for your hips, you can do that. If you want to stay here just with your hips instead of working on the arm variation, you can do that. Or you're going to take your right hand and put it behind your head, the back of your left hand and put it behind your back, and then let your elbows open out and away from you. If you easily can grab hands behind your back and you want to take the full shape, feel free to do that. But instead of really working towards exasperation or anything, let's just focus on opening the elbows, opening the chest. Not a long visit, just another breath. And relax the arms. You're going to unwind the legs. You can stay sitting up on whatever you're sitting on if that feels okay to you. You're going to tuck the other leg in, so I'm on the pinky toe edge of the foot. And take this leg across and stay here, which is still a lot of hip work. Or come onto the pinky toe edge of the foot. Oh, I gotta wiggle. Yeah, wiggling generally necessary. And then you can stay here, you can hold yourself up, you can decide you're going to change on this side and just do easy seat or cross-legged, and then your other hand might come behind your head and behind your lower back. You can hold hands if that's available and desirable to you. Then everybody reach your elbows apart if you've got your arms in this position. Feel the floating, the expansiveness in your heart, even though you're not like bursting your heart wide open, right? Big breath in. Big breath out. And relaxing the arms. We're going to unwind the legs and come out onto our knees again. So be sure you've got that padded up. We're going to take half camel pose in each direction. So coming onto your knees about hip width apart, curl your toes under. Take one hand onto your hip. You're going to move your hips forward, feel your heart lift up, reach the arm up, and look back over your right shoulder. And you should not have any pressure of your hips going into your hand. Everything should be going up and away from your hand. Inhale here. Exhale, belly draws back. Come back to the center. Put the other hand in your hip. Hips go forward, heart goes up, reach up through those fingertips. Really moving forward and out and up, expansive in the body and the breath. One more inhale. Exhale, belly pulls back. Come back to the center. And then swing the legs out in front of you. And I'm going to scooch forward a bit here. We're going to go all the way down onto our back. See if you can roll through your spine, coming all the way down there, and resist the urge to bring the knees into your chest when you arrive. In fact, reach your arms up and over your head. And as you reach out longer through the body, feeling the heart float up towards the front of your rib cage. Take another big breath in. Release as you exhale. And then keeping the feet on the floor, slide them in closer towards your hips. Take your arms down by your sides. Wiggle the shoulders underneath your back. You're going to push them into your feet. Come up, bridge pose. Interlace your fingers if you can. Really lift the heart upwards towards your nose, pushing into all four corners of the feet. One more breath in. And then relaxing your shoulders, releasing your hips down towards the floor. As you breathe out, keep the feet on the floor for a moment. We're going to go up 2 more times. You can make your visit a little bit shorter than I instruct, but see if you can go twice more. Wiggle your shoulders underneath the back. Make sure your arms are helpful to you, that you're pushing them down, pushing down into the big toe edges of your feet too. One more inhale. Soften your throat, exhale. And then release yourself down. When you get up there this 3rd time, really see if you can relax your jaw to allow that heart to open as you're coming into this full expression of the shape. Push down in feet, lift hips, wiggle shoulders, keep breath moving, soften throat. One more inhale. Exhale, hips Release, arms release, coming down onto the floor. Wiggle your feet wide or knock your knees against each other. Maybe again, take a hand to your belly and a hand to your heart. Feeling the heartbeat. Notice if it slows down a little bit after all of the exhilaration of those heart openers. One more round of breath. And then you're going to start to come up to a seat. You can roll over or you can rock yourself up because we're going to set up for that final restorative pose now. You're going to take your big pillow, your big squishy thing, whatever you've got. If you had a yoga bolster, you could use that. I don't have them. I think a lot of us don't. They're not quite as common, but if you did, this would be the time to have them. And then you want to have like either a similarly stacked set of books or blocks. And you're going to take the feet together, and you want to bring these in so that you don't have much give in your legs. You want to sit right up against the edge of the pillow, and then you're going to lay back and open your arms in a way that feels really yummy to you. For me, if I have like a W in my arms, it feels really good. Like a cactus shape kind of gets my shoulders tilted up, but elbows lower lets my collarbones open. I'm not having any strain for my knees to open. If I did, I would move those blocks up higher or in closer to my hips. In fact, I think I'm going to go lower and a little bit further away just because I did a lot of good hip work today, but you need to make sure you're making a choice that allows you to be soft. In restorative poses, we don't necessarily feel a whole lot of change. Like there's generally not really a big stretch. What it is it's a place of softening and it's a place of surrender. Of letting the central nervous system soften. Of allowing ourselves to be present in a place we might not normally hold for a really long time. Always following that golden rule of prop usage, which is if you feel like something is in the wrong place, you are probably correct and should do something about that. So you might grab a little extra something to put underneath your head, an extra pillow or something. Taking a little survey of the body. Noticing places where you might feel some tension or resistance and offer that the opportunity to release. If you feel really good where you're at and you would like to stay here or maybe make a small adjustment so that you can stay here for your Shavasana, feel free to do so. If you do want to come out of this and come into a more traditional resting space, you might just decide to change your knees so that they face in. Might move the blocks, roll over, and remove the pillow. And again, you can totally stay. It's absolutely fine. If you wanted to come down onto your back, maybe bend the knees towards each other, just giving the lower back a chance to release, because there was a little bit of lift and maybe some compression back there. Whenever you're coming to a space that you feel comfortable resting in, maybe you didn't move from the space we were just in. Enjoy this time, this surrender as well, this softening. Start to come back to your body, back to your breath. Maybe making some small movements that help you to wake up. If you've still got the blocks by your sides and your knees open, go ahead and slide the blocks away as you draw your knees towards each other. Make sure you've got enough room, or if you were to roll over and come off of the pillow, you can do so comfortably. And so we'll find ourselves rolled over towards one side, pausing in a moment of gratitude and reflection for practice. And when you're ready, coming up to your own version of a comfortable seat, hands gathered together at your heart. Sealing our practice, releasing an Om together, big breath in. Bowing down to the love and light that resides within each of our beautiful hearts. Namaste. Thanks, everybody. Have wonderful days. Glad you're here.